And up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Brewing Through the Multiverse. Really, episode 1 now. We're starting something totally different here. Troy was cast as a sorcery and is on an adventure. He will be back occasionally and eventually.
Yeah, from Exile.
Yeah, suspend counters. But he will be around. So I'm your host, Mike. My
And I'm your host,
co-host,
Joel. And we're brewing.
How we doing,
I've
man?
got this 1911 cherry hard cider.
Oh, so good.
You turned me on. I think you turned me on to the OG 1911.
Yeah, I shout them from the rooftop. If I'm going to get a good cider, I like them. They're super cheap and really tasty. So I got Equilibrium 3x3. I had to stop out there and get something special for today as we restarted our recordings. Got it in a nice long stem Tiku of Futurama.
Oh, nice Futurama glass there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to show off some fun glasses as we go throughout this. So this is going to be how we do it now, video and audio. We'll have it on YouTube. This should be posted sometime after Christmas. So hopefully everyone had a great Christmas.
And when you watch this in 2 years when we're huge, you could look how shitty the beginning was, and then you'll know how far we've come. So.
Or they'll be like, damn, they were slaying it from day one.
From day one. They killed it.
That's it. But all right, so we got a lot to talk about, I guess. Have you been playing Magic other than our commander?
So which we'll touch on later, I hopped back on Arena to get into Khans of Tarkir draft, which was something that I was extremely excited about, as Khans is one of my favorite sets of all time. But other than that, yeah, my Arena's been slacking, honestly, I have to say, since the podcast kind of went away. There wasn't as much drive for me to play an Arena. I ended up starting playing like Warcraft Rumble. I got into that really hardcore for some reason, so that kind of took up my time. But it's good to be back because honestly, I missed it. There was a decent gap between Commander even too, and I just felt like it was weird not thinking about Magic as much as normal. So it's nice to kind of be back in the grind set.
Yeah, I'll have to admit I have stepped back a little bit. I still play most nights, but I haven't been obsessed as I have been. And with the holidays and everything, it's just been a lot with the kids. But I have so many standard decks built; it's ridiculous. 7, 8 standard decks, and all of them are fantastic.
You can tell us about them.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. We'll get right into it. So I have right now my top 3, because I'm not going to talk about all of them. My top 3 right now is I have a Discover deck, which is a red-white Boros deck, and it's kind of built around Quintorius.
Quintorius, the elephant?
Yes.
Yeah. He's going to catch a ban.
Yeah, it's a little rough. There's that 3 in a red creature that lets you double discover. And a lot of the discover is 4. So if you can discover with that out, there's a chance you get a second one out. And then on your next turn, if you discover, you get 3 triggers of it.
Yeah, that's gross.
With Quintorius out, that's 6 damage just for 1 discover cost. And
is that a meta deck or is that a personal brew?
Personal brew. I know that there are builds of it out there. I have not seen any yet. It's got to be similar. I mean, a lot of the cards are no-brainers that I'm running. And then it's a lot of low-cost removal. That way, if I really need to on a pinch, I just pop one of the lands to discover, and there's a good chance removal will pop out. So with removal, actually, Get Lost has been doing wonders for me. Do you know that card? The 1 in a white?
You have to hit me with it.
All right, so it's 1 in a white instant. And it says destroy target creature, planeswalker, or enchantment, and then your opponent gets 2 map tokens. So
the
2 map
tokens are consequential?
It doesn't matter, man. I mean, listen, it can change some stuff, but the fact that I could hit enchantments too has been well worth the slight, inconvenience of maybe they're going to get an extra land to hand.
So actually,
and if you remove a creature,
go on.
If you remove a creature and they have nothing on board, they can't even explore. You know, so sometimes a blood token's useful no matter what, but that map token needs a creature, in my
Have
opinion.
you been seeing a lot of Eldraine enchantments like running around standard? Like any of the mostly I'm talking about like the virtues. Does anyone run the virtues?
Yes, the black one has been around a lot. You know, and if they get the black virtue out on the enchantment side and they start popping Atalis from graveyard, you might as
Oh,
well concede.
oh,
There's also the white one, which at instant speed you can get a 2/2 knight. And then when that lands, at the beginning of your end step, everything gets a +1/+1 counter, and then untap all your creatures. And that's been
tough.
my biggest problem. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
So
So
I picked up the black one for commander, and I picked up a copy of the green one for commander.
nice.
Because those, yeah, I haven't hit them yet. I drew the black one game we were playing, but didn't get a chance to drop it. Because I even feel like the -3, negative, like that's a solid adventure to me.
Yeah, and it also gains your life too.
Yeah,
So
just a quick swing, and it's pretty cheap. But I'm excited to actually get to play that. But what's your other deck? So you mentioned the Quintoris Discover.
yes, that's my fun one. I'm pulling it up now. So my other one is an Is It Throne of the Drowned God or Throne of the
Interesting.
Drowned. Let me pull up the picture of this here. So it's a 2 mana legendary artifact, Throne of the Grim Captain. I was totally off. Uh,
Oofos.
2 mana legendary artifact. It taps to mill 2 cards. And then you can craft it with a dinosaur, a merfolk, a pirate, and a vampire, and then 4 mana. And it'll flip into the Grim Captain, which has menace, trample, lifelink, and hexproof, and is a 7/7.
Ew.
Uh, Whenever it attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. Then I may put an exiled creature card that I used to craft it with onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking.
That's
It ends the
pretty
game
good.
right there. It ends it. So that has
So
been my most powerful.
why do you like craft so much? Explain your enjoyment of craft to me.
Craft is nice because whatever card crafts can be cast and does something at a decent rate. But late game, as things enter the graveyard, you can exile them to make this card do something all over again. Um, it, I don't know how great it is in standard. Like, obviously, the Grim Captain does a lot, but a lot of them are just really for drafting and
Yeah,
sealed and stuff like that. I want to actually, the best example of it is the one in a white spring loaded saw blades. You can it's an artifact for 2 that you could cast with flash, and it deals 5 damage to a target tapped creature. So
very
5 damage
great
is a lot for
ability.
2 mana. Yeah, that's great. But you could also craft it to make it into a 5/5 vehicle with crew 1. So it's just one of those things where it's removal, and then later on it's a 5/5 that you could tap any little 1/1 for.
Side
It's that
story,
stuff that makes it great. Hit me.
mentioning crew, Smuggler's Copter got unbanned in Pioneer.
Yes. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's overpowered. I think it was a great like example of this card, can live in this environment.
Yeah. 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 My favorite memory is that day you pulled one and you just ripped it in half.
Dude,
I'll never forget
Kaladesh, I mean, I'm obviously upset that I didn't sell it when it was at the height of like the smuggler copter like apocalypse in modern. But yeah, no, I think that was like the sixth one I pulled. And Kaladesh also you're pulling tons of cards trying to look for expeditions that you're not gonna find. And yeah, the number of smuggler's copters was too damn high.
it. Wasn't the submarine in Kaladesh that blue submarine?
Oh, let's look it up.
Because that was the worst rare vehicle I've ever pulled a ton of. And it bothered me every time.
Ha! Also, didn't Kaladesh have that like oh my god, that terrible green sorcery? Oh man, that's even
Kaladesh was so volatile. Some of it was so good, some of it was terrible. Energy was weird. That was a wild time.
I loved Energy though.
Yeah. I hope it comes back. I'd like to see it come back.
It did in the. It's going to come back in the Fallout Commander deck.
Nice.
Yeah, the Jeskai Commander deck with Liberty Prime as like the. No, it's not the commander, but like that's like the
I
one of the themes.
I
It's
hope
like
they put a whole
science.
bunch of cards. Like I want a lot of good, energy if you're gonna do it, because it's lacking in Commander.
I mean, yeah, just so that I could run Aetherwork Marvel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
back to standard.
all right. So yeah. So that gave me a second to pull it up here. I just want to call out because obviously, in order to do that flip, you need a vampire, a pirate, a merfolk,
Yeah,
and a
dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
I'm assuming you
So
put it in like a tribal deck of some sort, a
it's
typal
so
deck.
it's no. What's the word
Kindred.
now? No, kindred. It
A
feels so
kin.
good to say
Yeah,
kindred. I like
kindred.
that one. But so what I did is I broke it up evenly to like 6, 6, 6, and 6. And I just want to call out a few. If anyone does want to try it, in terms of vampires, the Voldaren Epicture, that little one drop that a lot of the mono red decks are running, it's nice because it enters, it deals a damage, and it makes you the blood token. And that blood token lets you get the dinosaurs into the graveyard early so that hopefully on turn 4 you can flip the Grim for the 7/7 on turn 4. In terms of the dinosaurs, obviously Atali, and there's also the Seismic Monstersaur, which has the where you discard it to get the land. Was it Mountain Cycle, right?
Sure.
So that's a good way to get a dinosaur into the graveyard. And then the Merfolk, the best one has to be that one that you can counter and activate a triggered ability. It'll stop Shieldred from gaining life and dealing damage to you. And then in terms of the pirates, the best one is the Kite Sail Larcenist. Just because when it enters, it can turn something of yours into a treasure
You played
and
that in
turn
Commander.
something of theirs. Yeah, I just got one for Commander
Yeah,
too.
it was
Great
good.
card. But again, that's something where you could turn a Shieldred into a treasure token, and it's got Ward 1. So all of the creatures are really effective and good. And then, you get the 7/7. So I recommend testing that one out. I like that one a lot. I'm going to throw out one more quick one. I'm not really going to talk about it, but in our last episode, I was talking about a Trotta, not a Trotta. It's
Italian.
the Orzhov,
Oh,
the where it deals damage equal to the number of auras out. Atrina, 1 black, white, 2/4,
yes.
legendary.
The witch
Yes, yeah, with that little glass
with the
apple.
charmed. Yeah, the charmed apple.
Yeah, we had talked about building her, and I did, and it's good. It's fun. I made it Esper. That way I could run the aspiring asinine antics, and it works great. It's doing its job. You put the damage doubler, 1 black, black, black vampire.
Yeah.
That way at the end of the turn, it'll deal double the damage for what she's got. It's good, but I personally think Arena's kind of fucking with me a little bit because I've got tons of creatures and I just never have a creature in hand. I don't know what's going on.
I
It will
think
not.
that you didn't buy enough packs and you didn't unlock the good hand feature, unfortunately.
I know. I didn't buy the VIP hand package,
The
so
battle pass that allows you to play Magic correctly.
yeah. But it's good. I'm still trying to make that one work. So those are my 3 newest. I'll mention more next week, but standard has been a lot of fun, and what I've been running into the most is definitely a lot of Shieldreds, a lot of black, and then a lot of these mono white decks. They have been really something else. It just goes to show
So
the power of that vow or whatever wedding announcement.
So I'm going to list off some of the decks that are on Goldfish's like standard metagame, and
All right.
I want you to tell me if you like run into them. The
Okay.
first is Esper midrange.
That's the one with Ravine.
I believe so.
I have come across it once. I hear that talked a lot
Yeah,
about.
Rafine.
I
Rafine,
never.
the scheming
Yeah.
seer.
I've never played against it until recently was my first time, and it definitely beat me. It was very resilient, had
So
all
it's
the build
labeled as
rates.
mid-range. Is it actually mid-range? Because I see
Yeah,
Esper and I immediately think control.
yeah, no, it's creatures. It's just creatures, redundancy, power, conniving. It'll kill you with damage, and it can do it pretty quickly. From what I went across, it had an answer for everything. I removed Rafine. It came back from the graveyard. I removed Rafine. It came back. I couldn't even tell you how it was happening, but I remember I removed it a few times, and it still was able to
Yeah,
come
just
out. And
yeah, it's still around.
yeah, so
Then
that's legit. That should be there.
the next is it's just labeled as domain, and it looks like it's basically running an Atraxa deck. Grand
Right, where
Unifier,
that
you running into Atraxa?
no. No,
Damn,
I'm at Mythic 4, so I'm starting to play against competitive stuff, but no, I have not seen that. That's
damn.
that up the
Isn't Mythic 4 like
beanstalk and all that stuff.
the top?
I'm
Is
sorry,
there
not
anything
Mythic.
above Mythic?
Platinum? It's Platinum, Diamond, and then Mythic. So I'm at Platinum. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I've never
Golgari
reached
mid
Mythic.
range.
Yes. Yeah, I just recently played against that Glissa. That Glissa with the first strike and death touch got me.
I love the last time I have Glissa in my shitty Abzan Pioneer deck because I think that's just such a good card. I just love first strike death touch.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, I literally made my Abzan deck have Thalia on the Gitrog monster for that exact reason. Only because it's such a deterrent, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you need to, you swing at someone, no one's gonna block, and then you get to, draw a
Yeah,
card or destroy
definitely
an
grab some damage
enchantment.
in there.
So for three
This
mana,
one
she's
I
great.
wonder if very interested in too. Have you run into Azurius soldiers at all?
I've run across a lot of soldiers in white. I don't know if so much as the blue. Maybe it's a splash that I've come across. That make disappear counter gets me constantly. So maybe I have, but
Yeah, they're
primarily it
running a
should be
4
white.
over that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, and
the
Zephyr
wandering.
Sentinel.
Which one? What's
It's
that?
just an uncommon. It's a 2-mana uncommon, 2/1 with flash flying, and when it enters the battlefield, return up to one other target creature you control to its owner's hand. If it was a soldier, it gets a 1/1 counter. So you can flash out a 3/2 for 2.
I have not come across that one.
Interesting.
You know what I did come across though? What's that 4 mana artifact that you just bought from Troy? Do you remember that name?
Oh, the Wandering Throne?
Yes, Wandering Throne. I had someone throw out a Shieldred and then 2 Wandering Thrones, and naming Phyrexian. And at the beginning of my upkeep, it dealt 6 damage to me and
That's pretty
died right
cool. I
there.
mean, that's like a very roundabout way of like killing somebody, I feel like, but
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to play Shieldred anyway. And,
yeah,
why
but that's
not?
so much. I feel like you're going all in. Like, were there other Phyrexians, or was that just like that was it? The
I
whole
didn't
combo
get
was
very
that.
far. It was just me fighting that Shieldred the whole time. And then in one turn, he dropped both of those Wanderers as I was at 6 life.
Oh, okay.
Give
Yeah,
up that
I
good
wasn't
game
sure.
emote. And
Damn, damn. And
yeah.
then the last one to round out the top 5 is the tried and true mono red aggro.
Yeah, still being hit by the little baby chicks in the sky for sure.
Looking over it, it looks exactly the same. Besides adding Godric, the Cloaked Reveler.
Yes, which is really good.
Yeah,
That celebration on him, woof,
yeah, and you're hitting for
woof.
4. Oh
Yeah,
man! And if you have extra mana, you could dump it into the attack. That's actually pretty cool. I might pick up my
yeah,
mono red deck again.
yeah, yeah. Literally, just throw some of them in there. You'll get right back in there.
Honestly, I have to say, I don't know if it's just because of I think I brought this up before, but I'll never forget the time I played like 8 or 9 mono red deck mirror matches in a row, and then I wasn't sure if it's because of like my rank, because I was, I think it was silver at that point. Everyone was just playing that, or like that was just an insane stroke of luck.
That it's by design. They pair you up with what you're playing. There's a lot of times I pull when I was playing the that uh, Esper deck that I was just talking about with the auras. How many times I went against other decks that are running aura heavy decks, and it's not by coincidence. They definitely team you
Yeah,
up to
right. Like the
something
algorithm
similar.
is insane. Like the matchmaking.
for sure. Yeah, there's no way someone else is just building that and running it. It's trash. So it had to be some sort of algorithm.
Any final thoughts on standard? Any last parting words?
Uh, it's as healthy as I've ever seen it. It is so powerful. It feels like Pioneer. You
I
can
mean,
build
there's so many
anything you
sets in
want.
it by this point.
Yeah.
It's like might as well be Pioneer.
The land base is phenomenal. Everything's just been really good. So I'm excited for you to start playing it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm excited to dip my toes back in. Green seemed just gonna keep my mono green machine and add, I guess, Galta. Then
Yeah.
just keep running
Fight
it.
rigging.
Yeah. Oh, and fight rigging too. Um, any specific cards from Lost Caverns of Ixalan that have wowed you lately? Any personal shout outs?
Yeah. Yeah. I have this here. But while I'm pulling this up, I know you were talking about the Kanzatar Kier. I don't have much to say about that, but I am curious. Did you draft? Did you like it? Did it feel good now
Oh,
this
it's
much further?
yes. Okay, so nostalgia, nostalgia aside, I love it. One thing I will say are that the you know how that there's the fire team at Wizards like for design?
Yes.
Yeah, so just if anybody out there doesn't know, like they essentially wanted to make commons and uncommons more fun to make the game like the draft environment more like exciting. So like they've gotten a little bit more complex over the years, obviously, as anyone's seen. But this set is, I believe, before that team was implemented. So I just feel like you can definitely tell because there's just some cards that are like absolutely useless. But I love the three color synergies, like because how many times have you drafted and you were tempted just third color because you got you know, uh, two dual colored rares that like, oh my god, I have to run both of these. So the fact that that gets built in, I personally love tricolor sets. New
Yeah.
Capenna aside.
Which was fantastic. I love that set.
Yeah.
But
No, very
did
good. Just didn't wow me.
did you perform well? Like, did you get a good number on it?
So I'm not done. I'm not done with my
Okay.
draft yet, but I am 5-1 currently. And
Oh
I
wow.
drafted the tried and true Abzan, and my killer card right now is Dune Blast.
What's
So
that
Dune
doing?
Blast, oh yeah, Dune Blast is like I believe it's 7 mana for a board wipe that says choose a creature, destroy all the rest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That'll
so you
do
get
it.
to keep your best thing, and how much is it? Let's see. Yeah, 7 mana for an Abzan, and
Okay.
I just feel like that in limiteds can be such a blowout because of people, you know, committing to the everything to the board, and then there's not as many resources to recoup your hand.
Yeah, because you could just keep a 3/3 and probably
Yeah, wreck
like,
face.
close it out pretty quick.
And
That's
then the
right.
other card that's killing it for me is Abzan Falconer.
That's the white one that makes a bird.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, not the white one that
Oh,
makes a bird.
oh,
It's a 3 mana 2/3 with Outlast, which is a mechanic that I enjoy. But
okay.
each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. And
Okay.
you don't
Yeah.
know how great it is to sneak counters onto things and then just have evasion in limited. It's so great.
Yeah. Yeah. Flying is real and limited.
Honestly,
That's
yeah, and
nice.
then especially because you can get it out there like fairly quickly. You know what I mean? Then start hitting people with some flyers. It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah. I
Honestly, this
did.
sees play in standard too. I mean, any 1/1 counter deck in white probably wants this.
Yeah. Some Azorius baloney that's gonna make everything fly. But I did one draft of it. I got my ass whooped. I went 0-3.
Damn.
I I built was it Chess Guy? No, green, blue, red. I got a whole
Beamer.
bunch of rares and everything in it. I couldn't even tell you what I did. I just shoved it all together. But I very much agree that a lot of the commons and uncommons were something I didn't even want to cast sometimes.
Yeah, it's
Um,
trash.
and that's why I asked, with it being so far in the past now for us, I feel like these modern sets are superior,
Oh
even though
yeah.
the nostalgia is nice.
No, yeah, for sure. Just because it's a shame that people don't draft more actually in paper. This
Yeah,
is just making me think. But
yeah,
because I would definitely love to draft in paper. I feel like would be fun.
yeah. Me too, man. The problem is if we got together to draft, we'd just play Commander.
Yeah, well, that's the sick
That's the
addiction.
problem.
But I only
Yeah.
bring that up because I feel like drafts were firing more so when this set was released, and then draft design. Well, I guess no, people are probably drafting a ton on Arena. That was a nice one. So I guess yeah, people are playing it. It's just that I don't engage with the arena as much. So to me, in my brain, it's just like, oh, people don't draft as much, but it's so good drafting. But no, actually thinking about it, everyone just drafting on arena.
Yeah, for the most part, it's a 50-50 for me. I play a lot of standard, but I do just as much drafting on there. It's when one gets stale or I get frustrated that I'll just jump to the other. And I
Yeah.
like being able to go back and forth at such ease and convenience.
Would you pick draft over sealed? You'd say.
No, sealed overdraft every time for me.
Really?
Um,
Why?
so I sometimes I don't know the set as well as I should. And I feel like the reason why I like limited in the first place is because it levels the playing field against me not being a meta player. So I know how to assess cards, but I'm not really good at building and being competitive. So when it gets into limited, suddenly it's leveled. But if you know how to draft and you've watched the draft videos, you kind of know what to grab and everything. And now that gives you an advantage again. Where for sealed, it's pot luck, man. You whatever you pull, you make it
Yeah,
happen.
deal
And
with it.
sometimes you make trash go far. And that's the best part of Magic. So I like sealed. But you prefer draft?
I feel like I do prefer draft just because I like seeing more cards. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the fact that you see that many packs get opened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just am like, ooh, more cards to touch.
Yeah. It does get you a better synergy and you do enjoy playing draft more. Your
Yeah.
draft deck is more enjoyable. So
I like also the metagame of just what's the person next to me drafting, what am I being passed, figuring out what the colors they're in. Oh, I keep seeing, this pretty good uncommon and whatever color keeps getting passed around. Clearly, no one near me is drafting this,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then working that out. But it is rough when you have to make like a pivot on pack two, and you know what I
See,
mean. You just have all that waste of cards sealed. Like you have to make it work.
yeah. But you that sealed is how you really get to know a card where you're like, listen, these are the colors I have to run. Let me try this card out, and it really gets you in there. But for draft, I'm that guy that whatever my first rare is, that's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at pivoting. I can't get it going. Whatever I pull first is what I'm gonna force. And that I guess that's a detriment for myself also.
No, one of my favorite draft runs. I didn't actually go 7, but I think I drafted Rakdos, but I just took every single removal spell in the pool, and that's all I did. That was all I did, and I can't believe I won games just killing everything and sticking like a 3-2, and just you know what I mean.
That's literally Rakdos right there. You drop a 3/1 for 2 mana, and then you kill everything else while you swing with it.
Burn it all. I get it. I understand now.
That's it. That's so funny. Removal is never appreciated enough in a limited format. It's
Did you
good
pull up
stuff.
your Lost Caverns cards?
Yes, yeah. I'm ready for that. So now, are you familiar with the set? I know you haven't played standard. Have you? Is there any interaction with this set that you've done?
So honestly, beyond just looking at like what to add to for Commander, I did like a more thorough scan of everything. But honestly, no, I haven't had my hands on them too frequently.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been playing it extensively. I like the limited format of it. Craft and discover and all this stuff is adding so much. I do have to say I like Wilds of Eldraine better in terms of limited format. That's the best format I've played in recent memory.
Do
But
you
with that
feel
said,
that? Hold up, real quick on that note.
yeah,
Do you feel that because this set, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lost Caverns doesn't have any like insert cards, right? Like there's no Enchanting Tales or the March of the Machines legendaries, right?
Right. Yeah, it's just strict. I didn't even realize that. You're right though. Yeah, it's just set. So there's none of these bombs that suddenly show up. You're right.
I think that adds a lot of flavor to a draft experience.
Yeah, it's what makes the format even more unique from standard is the ability to play those. So I agree. And again, I hadn't thought about that, but now that you say that, that very much might be that little bit of difference because I like all of the cards and mechanics of the set, but there's just something more enjoyable about Wilds of Eldraine, and that might be it.
So actually, something side note, sort of relevant. I pulled up Lost Caverns on the Magic the Gathering page on
Yeah,
wizards.com, and now they have, and maybe they've had this for a while. It's the first time I've seen it. Now they have under the card what types of products it's available in.
that's useful
Yeah,
because there's a
because
lot of
I
products.
mean, like, so I think that's pretty nifty in terms of um like figuring out how to how to get some of these things, because some of like like the this is only in set boosters and it's colorless and foil in this.
Yeah, yeah, or yeah, the commander only card that you can only pull in whatsoever, and
Yeah, calm it
it's
down
good.
with booster fun. Well, I guess now there's only going to be, what are
Play
they, play
boosters.
packs?
Yeah,
Is that what they're called, play boosters?
yeah,
The
yeah.
fuck is that, play booster? That's dumb.
It's a
Is that
set
actually what they're
booster.
called? They're called play boosters.
I believe so.
Oh, hold on.
I'm just gonna go by my very strong memory that that's the name of it.
They're play, but what else are you going to do with them?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like draft boosters. It's like I guess I got to draft them.
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm excited
actually,
about that. I don't mind paying more. It's gonna have good
I was
stuff.
gonna say that's a hot topic. What do you feel about the Switch?
I like it. Listen, if you're gonna tell me you're gonna put fatter, fierier, better cards in my booster packs, yeah, I'll pay a little bit. I'm already paying. As long as it's not $30 like a collector booster pack, I'll pay. And I'll pull more stuff. I'll get good. And if you play the limited, you're using these packs now, so there's going to be more power to it. A chance of like 4 rares. Yeah, whatever. Let it happen.
Yeah,
I'm excited. How about
I
you?
I personally just think that, look at, like, I understand that people are saying it's basically like a tax on limited, because yes, limited is going to be more expensive. I can't argue with that. What I'm saying though is that the sales numbers show that people weren't buying draft boosters.
At all?
So it was either no draft at all ever again because they just got rid of it, or this uh kind of half step in order to like appease both crowds. Because I
Yeah,
was the type of person, I'm heavily invested in Magic, and I had no interest in buying draft boosters at all. If I were
yeah,
gonna buy like not a collector's booster because I didn't want to spend $25 a pack, so it was set boosters because they're not that much more money and there's more chances at, like, value cards or like cool treatments and things.
yeah, yeah.
So why even buy
100%.
draft boosters? So I'm sorry,
It,
drafters, but also, like, it was gonna happen. Like, what are you gonna do?
but also, as a drafter, I promise you, after the first set with them, I think is Murders.
Yeah.
After that, all drafters are going to be happy about it also. They're not, this isn't going to hurt draft at all. It's going to add more punch to draft. And that's what we're all looking for anyway. So I think it's all positive. The problem is the price, but they've already jumped the shark with pricing. We've had $1,000 booster packs for their 30th
Yeah.
anniversary, so like whatever. Do you want an extra $20 for the box or whatever it is? No problem. Let's do this. Just give me my cards.
Give me my drugs, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but all right. So for the Lost Caverns, I've played a decent amount now. I just want to highlight like 1 or 2 cards from each color
Yeah.
of things that have really surprised me or really disappointed me. And we'll start with white. So, Thousand Moons Smithy is a legendary artifact, 2 white. And when it enters the battlefield, create a white gnome soldier artifact creature token that has this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts and or creatures you control. So you have 3 artifacts out. It's a 3/3. It itself is an artifact. So with Thousand Moon Smithy and that at least it's a 2/2. But you're gonna have some other stuff. So it's gonna be a 5/5/6/6. I've seen it a lot of times as an 8
Yeah.
8 that it comes down. Like so that's pretty good for 4 mana. But you can craft it, and at the beginning of your oh no, you don't craft it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may tap 5 untapped artifacts and/or creatures you control. So it doesn't have to be artifacts. Let's just say you have some random tokens.
Yeah.
Tap them. It transforms into the Thousand Moon Smithy, which is a land, and that land taps for mana. But it'll also, whenever you cast an artifact, you get another one of these gnomes that is equal to the power and toughness of your artifacts. And built right, it's an unstoppable thing. In the pre-release, when I went to the Ixalan pre-release, I was undefeated. I won my first 2 games with ease. And on my last game, I played against Tyler. And he dropped that on both games. And it was just it was unstoppable in limited. Because if you pulled it, you're gonna build around it. There's gonna be artifacts, there's gonna be things going on. And what do you do against these 7/7s? And once it flips, there's going to be a bunch of them. They're 8/8s, they're 9/9s. It was so overwhelming to have to handle in limited that I have to shout that out. Is if the only white card, that's crazy, and it's so unassuming. So that was a Moon Smithy.
My white card of choice, and it's kind of a cop out because it's an expensive mythic, but more so not even just specifically the card, but just the mechanic is the Ogier Tack, the Deepest Foundation, the god,
Yeah,
the white god.
yeah,
Um, I obviously the effect is cool. Tripling things is always fun in Magic. I know some people say it's a bit overdone nowadays. It has been weird that there's been so many doublers coming out like so quickly. I feel like, but at the same time, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
give me all of it.
yeah,
But I really love the way Wizards has been approaching gods and not making them just straight up indestructible like they were in Theros. Like I
yeah,
liked the gods from Amonkhet with their, I believe it you like tuck them 3 deep,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then moving off of that, I actually really appreciate these gods with their flip them when they die type thing, and then you have a chance to flip them back because even the backs for most of them are fairly good.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I just thought that was a cool way of handling that.
I agree. They make them very powerful. Bat God and all these things. They're very powerful, but they're not too powerful. There's something that is, manageable and
Yeah,
fun. And I don't mind triple everything you want. I mean, that's the point is, and I'm learning in Magic is the faster a game ends, the faster we get into the next game. So if you tripled stuff and you won quickly, good on you. That was impressive. Let's get to this next game. So I'm okay with all that. Yeah, what white was okay in this set. The other thing is that the get lost one in a white instant where it destroy creature enchantment or planeswalker. I think everybody should at least try it out, see if it fits. Some people aren't going to like that the maps get given, but being able to destroy anything you want at instant speed for 2 mana,
that's the way.
try it. Try it. That getting rid of the fight rigging for 2 mana at instant speed alone is worth it. So because there's that pugnacious, whatever. It's the 3 mana 6/6 dinosaur that just came out.
Oh, why can it not attack unless certain
Yes,
conditions met?
but it don't matter. That drops turn 2 because something, some sort of mana thing. Turn 3 fight rigging comes out. It puts the 1/1 on it, and you get whatever fight rigging is going to cast, which is normally something disgusting. So
Yeah,
it's that 6/6 has been a problem, and having the get lost to destroy either one of them is good. Yeah. All right, so we'll go to blue. I want to shout out Kite Sail Larcenist as the
yeah.
best blue card in this set. It's 2 and a blue, 2/3, flying, ward 1. Those stats are great. When it enters, you and everybody else choose one artifact or creature, and it turns into a treasure until it leaves. Man, I it ramps me. It destroys something of my opponents. It's great.
I liked it in Commander when you played it, particularly because I like that you tempt the opponent into spending the treasure to cast something bigger. So you're ultimately still removing it. Like, yes, you're giving them a little bit of ramp, but I just like the fact that as opposed to other exile until it's gone effects where it's just gone and they're way more focused on just getting rid of that, as opposed to this, which gives them like an out to just get rid of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's a
Y-
really cool card.
You're right. It seems a little less harsh because you're like, listen, you can get all you got to do is kill this 2/3. You get it back right now. I just had to control this. It's a nice little political talk for something that they'll end up having to destroy their own creature when they
With
sack
war,
that treasure,
yeah.
which feels good. You're right. But in terms of blue, there was nothing else that really impressed me. So
I have a art shout out.
yeah, hit me.
I love the showcase version of a call Pakal first among equals. He's wearing this like
Yeah.
awesome hat and has like a cool staff. I just love that artwork. I'm very glad that they didn't do only coins also for the showcase. Like I'm glad we
Yeah.
got some like actual character arts.
Yeah. If we're shouting out hats, I'm pretty sure it's a captain's hat, which is a blue equipment. That's a funky art. The hat is very extravagant. I like that one. Uh, but all right, so for black, um, my favorite card would have to be Preacher of the Schism.
Schism. The shit. What
The
the shiz?
Schism. It is the Schism. So it's 2 and a black, 2/4 with Death Touch, which it's reminiscent of everything I like about black. When Preacher of the Schism attacks, the player with the most life or tied for the most life create a 1/1 vampire with lifelink. When it attacks, while you have the most life or tied for the most life, you draw a card and lose a life. Swinging with a Death Touch isn't intuitive because you want to leave them up as blockers. But if you have an opportunity to swing with this guy, get a 1/1, get a card draw, it's a lot. I've played with it. It's underwhelming. It is not performing as my mind tells me it is. I just like the card,
Yeah.
and even though I'll probably never run it in a deck. I really like that card. So, anything for black on your side?
Yes, which leads to like another side comment. So not really in black of this set, but I was just scrolling through the black cards from the set, and I noticed and I remembered that Black Market Connections was reprinted in the Commander decks. And I haven't personally purchased any of them, but I've seen a lot of buzz online that these were some of the best like set decks that have come out in a long time. And
Okay.
also just from like a finance point of view, like knowing like the reprints that were in them, I was impressed on that area as well. So I hope they continue the trend of pushing the reprints a little bit and making them just a tad bit stronger because I feel like everyone appreciates them.
Yeah, and that's smart. With the amount of commander decks they're building, they have to convince us to spend more money on them.
Yeah,
So
zhuzh
good
them a
reprints
little
is
bit.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
a
mean I
little
don't know about
zhuzh.
you, but like none of like when it was just the two, I don't think there were many decks at all that were like even worth looking at when it was not the main yearly release, and they only did the two decks like companion decks. Though I don't
Yeah,
know if they did four this set because of the four tribes, and they're going to go back to doing two, or if this is just a new thing where they're just going to do four for every set.
it'll probably be set dependent. Where if it fits to do 4, they would. Clearly, if there's 4 different tribes here, this was a perfect opportunity to do 4.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll keep on swapping it up. There'll be 3, there'll be 5. It's
Well,
which I'm
yeah.
for.
I mean, I personally, an old argument, hope that they remove the yearly commander release from a set and just make it its own thing again. I don't know if they'll
Yeah,
ever do that, but I just feel like you're already getting the draft set of that stuff. So why limit your choices for what to make?
yeah.
For from things from that set or like themed. You know what I mean?
It opens up the ability to do wilder things if they're not tied down to a set and a theme. So yeah, 100%. I'm sure they'll do it. I hope so, but I think they're kind of doing that now with their Universes Beyond. I think that's where their commander sets of like, separate from standard are now is just
True.
Universe
And
Beyonds.
honestly, I've every commander deck that's come out from Universes Beyond so far, the Warhammer 40K decks were all highly well reviewed. The
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of the Rings
fantastic.
commander decks were well reviewed. The Doctor Who decks were well reviewed, and as far as I've seen so far, the Fallout ones look good too. You know what I mean? So they've been, yeah, you're right in that they've been knocking out of the park with those lately.
Yeah. And I've never really wanted to buy commander decks that are precons. Normally we do it just to play them, but it's one of those things where I'll break it up, I'll use cards, this and that. But specifically in the Wilds of Eldraine, I'm about to once Christmas happened. I don't have a lot of extra money to go
Yeah,
buying
no,
decks, but
nobody does.
once I get that tax return,
Yeah,
I'm going to be buying Virtue and Valor, the Selesnya deck from Wilds of Eldraine, and I'm super excited to tweak that up and get that ready for what
I'm
I'm looking
excited to
for.
see you play that because it's such an opposite from your usual like Rakdos-ish kind of like vibe.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, it's a really, from what I've seen of it and how I plan on building it, it's really going to utilize these role tokens in a way that I've enjoyed for a few months now in limited. I think role tokens are exquisite. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
I really, that's one of my favorite things about the wilds is these role tokens. So to get them into commander and see how they do in a larger battlefield, I'm ready for that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Is there any precons that you're looking for or that have
So,
caught you?
I was gonna bring it up later, but I just got the I side story. I personally enjoy getting precons and then twisting them myself. I don't I like a lot of the things that Wizard does, especially when it's like unique cards like to Commander specifically. So honestly, I really just do it to kind of like pick those up. But I've always wanted, and one day I'm sure I will want to pick up the Silver Quill command deck from all the way back from Strixhaven. That's been
All
on my
right,
mind forever. Um,
nice.
so one day, and I didn't for the longest time because I had the Orzhov Aristocrats deck, and it wasn't really Aristocrats. So it's not like, and the cards would kind of transfer over. But I just really wanted to play that because I like the Brina. I thought Brina is super cool.
Yeah, I bought that and I played Brina and also the other one. The deck itself was one of my favorite precons. It ended up getting thrown and merged into Mathis, but yeah, that the whole deck of that is
Well, I was
something
jealous that
fantastic.
you had Brina. I always wanted to like play it. So like now that she's available and single, I might have to swing in there. And I don't know if
That's
Brina's a
it.
girl or a guy
Get that
owl.
sloppy seconds, man. Get
Yeah,
it,
but
man.
I'll take it.
Yeah, Brina's like the better version of Glunch. Like when you
Yeah.
built Glunch, where it's helping people, but obviously it's not totally group hug. Brina's fantastic. The reading of Brina is rough though. I every time I read that card, I'm like, but so who gets to draw a card though? Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Who
written a
has
little
the most,
complicated.
not least life, and then
Yeah, yeah, or tied to, and therefore by that, yeah, you got to write yourself a little cheat sheet of what it actually means. That way you can explain it to everybody else that you're playing with what's going on,
the
because
only
it helps
other
them too. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's why I enjoyed you playing it so much.
yeah, because it's like if you attacked Mark and Mark had the highest life, so you're getting something, I'm getting some, I'm getting
Yeah.
counters, you're getting
I
cards,
just
but
like the
like
way it warps
it's not fair.
everyone's mindset. That's you know what I mean? Like you have to
Yeah,
think about what you're doing for
yeah,
value.
like Monarch,
Yeah.
like it's that stuff where there's this little mini game now that
Or
we
coveted
love so
jewel,
much in our games.
which we'll save conversation for the next segment.
All right, awesome. So, all right, so let's get through the rest of these here, man. Listen, in black, I have one more shout out, and it's a limited only. In
Yep.
limited, Tithing Blade is one in a black artifact. When it enters a battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. I love that effect. I love it. I love it. But it also has craft with a creature for 4 in a black. So for 5 mana, you craft it, and it turns into an enchantment that says at the beginning of your end step, Your opponent loses a life, you gain a life. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Let's go by that's what it is. I don't have it here. I'm pretty sure that's what it does. But it's just one of these things of like you get rid of a creature, and later on you can craft it and suddenly start leeching life away. And unlimited tithing blade has won me games and it's cost me games. So shout out to that one.
All right, red.
Red. I'm going to now mention my favorite card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
All right, here it is.
Bar none. Brass's Tunnel Grinder.
Really?
Dude, yes. 2 in a red, legendary artifact. When it enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards, then draw that many +1. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended, put a board counter on it. If you have 3 or more, it flips into a land. That land taps for red, and if you use it to cast a permanent, discover X, where X is that permanent's cost. Dude. So first off, for 3 mana, it enters the battlefield. Discard your hand, draw 1. In the Throne of the Grim Captain, this is a great way to literally, on turn 3, dump all 4 creature types into my graveyard if I have to. If I can. For the most part, I just dump my hand. I don't care what my hand is. Dump it all, draw 5, draw 6, whatever it is. And it's the best card draw in red that I know of right now. You know, I mean, technically you have to get rid of cards, but
you're drawing
the
+1.
amount of cards, the amount of cards you can turn through is unreal. And then once it is flipped, which it takes 3 turns, I promise you're going to get something in the graveyard every one of your turns. It now discovers X. If you cast a Tali and you trigger Discover 7, it's the funnest thing you can do in Magic right now. So Brass's Tunnel Grinder, I ordered 3 for my Commander decks. I run it in almost all of my standard decks I can. I think it's a fantastic card. Can't say enough about it.
Yeah, I might have to pick one up for Ilharg.
Yes. Yeah. Just to... you have a bunch of random stuff in hand, but you need creatures. Dump it. Get a new hand. Draw that extra. Yeah.
When you're at like your 8th mountain and you're like, I don't need this.
Yeah. There's that time where you end up with like 4 cards in hand and none of them are useless.
Yeah, exactly.
Be able to draw 5 in red. Ugh.
Yeah, you're selling me. I'm buying what
Cool.
you're selling.
Cool. Because definitely my favorite card of the set. What do you got for red?
I haven't really seen anything from red. I mean, I ended up putting trumpeting Carnosaur in Ilharg. I didn't get a chance to play it, but it just seems... I love the fact that it's when it enters the battlefield, it's Discover 5. So with Ilharg, the idea is obviously I'm just going to try to abuse that. And it's also a 7/6 with trample. That's not bad rate for 6.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to finally get that out.
Yeah. Dealing the 3 damage is not nothing either. There's sometimes where if like someone drops a commander early and you can't have that commander out, just pay it. Get rid of it. Get the 3 damage on that creature. Kill their commander. For standard, it's useful. You know, it is in my Boros deck. And a lot of times I dump it to deal that 3 damage to something. So,
all right,
but Ilharg, that'll use it well. Before we go to green, I do just want to shout out Zoyawa's Justice, which is 1 in a red instant. The owner of target artifact or creature with mana 1 or more shuffles it into their library, then that player discovers X. So it's Chaos Warp.
Yeah, it's like Chaos Warp's cousin.
Right. And then you discover, which is a weird thing. But the best thing about it is for 2 mana, man, you could do it on your own stuff. How many times someone has targeted a big creature of mine and I just justice my own thing and get something just as good out? So it's double-sided. It's a removal, but at the same time, like, you can get yourself something nice too.
It's no get lost.
No. Well, listen, if you got to get lost your own stuff and get them mapped,
sometimes you got to get lost.
Oh, I love that stuff. But yeah, all right. So for green, what do you got for green? Because I know you ordered some stuff from green.
So green, I just got the Green God, mostly because I love the artwork.
Okay.
It's gonna go in. It's in my Raga Draga deck, but I honestly, I'm literally, this is one of the few cards that I'm forcing into a deck just because I love the artwork.
Nice. So you
Yeah,
ordered the original art, then I'm
yeah,
assuming, because yeah,
the
that's so
regular
good.
art. Yeah.
I ordered the showcase just because it was cheaper, but I very much agree that that original art is just something
What are you
gorgeous
putting
and
it
wild.
into?
Nothing. I just ordered it to have it.
Yeah,
Well, it was cheap. It was like $5.
exactly same. But I
Yeah,
was like,
I
this
could
is so
put.
cool.
Yeah, I could put it in Henzi, but I don't have a spot. So
It's also not useless. I mean,
yeah,
putting a creature and a land card from among them, like, so I get a little ramp. I'm probably gonna hit an elf, likely, but still.
yeah. Maybe I'll put it in Virtue and Valor. Maybe there'll be a spot for that in there. We'll
Yeah,
see. But for green, I got a shout out, and I guess it is pretty popular because I know it's expensive. The Skull Spore Nexus, which
yeah,
is
dude.
six green legendary artifact. Uh, it costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. When one or more non-token creatures you control dies, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness equal to the total power of the creatures. But you could also pay 2 mana and tap it to double target creature's power until end of turn. Um, Killing a creature and having a creature the same freaking size of it as it coming back in is disheartening.
Yeah,
And then they double the power of it, so it's hard to win once that's hit.
yeah. Joey played that in his Gishath deck this past weekend, and boy
Oh,
howdy, yeah,
that's
boy
right. It
howdy,
was
did it hurt.
That's right. And he had double strike too, right? It did like 32
Yeah,
damage.
Joey dealt 32 unadulterated gish ass damage to my poor. I don't even know what I was playing, but it couldn't even handle Dino Rampage like that.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember that because it killed you on the first
Yeah, and I was
like
like, he
amount
doesn't
of
get
damage.
all the triggers, he just gets one.
He didn't even get it all. It was
Yeah.
so good he couldn't get it all.
Only 16. Only a Gishath for 16. That's fine.
So big you can't fit it all. Wild. Um
Multicolor? Or sorry, were there any
multi
more greens for you?
no. Yeah. Multicolor Quintorius Con, but everybody knows that.
I actually put that into my Commodore Guff commander deck.
Yeah.
I
Hell
thoroughly
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's good. It's so good. The 3/2 is good. The Discover is good. The Ultimate I don't care about. It's so good though. So
Yeah.
good. Kutzil Malamet Exemplar. 1 green white. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. So that's some Dragon Lord Jamoka right there.
Yeah.
And then whenever one or more creatures you control, each with power greater than its base power, deals damage to target player, draw a card. It's a 3/3 for 3. Virtue and Valor, the deck with the rolls. This is going to be a great little fit. It gives me a little protection on my turn, and any of my creatures with rolls that deal damage, because its power is greater than its base, I'll be able to draw cards. I love this card. I think it's going to be a great little utility for Selesnias, and I like it. It's cheap as hell. Grab
Hell
it.
yeah. I loved Carmen Cruel Sky Marcher. I ended up picking up a copy for an Orzhov deck that I broke up literally before I got it in the mail. So I don't know. I might hold on to it and inevitably build Orzhov Aristocrats again.
I think you should. Like I said, I think you should finish up your fun with the Giants before you do it, because I like the Giants, and I know that's the question.
He's not
But
talking about the football team. Nobody likes the New York Giants.
or the Jets.
Yeah, honestly,
Fuck
get
all
it out
New
of
York
here.
teams. The Steelers are where it's at,
Hell
just
yeah.
because of their colors.
Hell yeah. No, but
I don't know
I
anything about
liked,
sports.
honestly, I really liked the vampires from this set. I loved the vampires from Ixalan as well. Um what was her name? What's the main?
Watley?
No,
Oh,
Dusk
Ixalan.
Rose. Who's the Dusk Rose?
Vito?
Alinda?
No, Alinda.
Isn't that
Alinda
from
Rose?
original Ixalan? Alinda of the Dusk Rose?
Yes, yes, yes. That actually changed the commander rule to when
Yeah,
a
yeah,
commander
to
died.
make it work.
Yes, yes. I
But
bought her
yeah,
when she was $30. I doubt she's $30 now, but
no way, no
yeah.
chance.
Yeah, I bought her at the peak and height just because I like that card. And
But
then,
as an Orzhov lover, I feel that the Orzhov vampires were very, very well done still.
yeah. Okay, so I'll talk about it another time. One of my standard decks I built is an Orzhov vampire, and it's full of good cards. I do not win with it. I mean, the win rate is like 1 out of 10. There's no vampire that wins you the game right now. As
Yeah,
much as all of them are these nice little pieces, there's nothing. There's nothing. I could have 4 vampires out. They drop a shield jet, and I'm still going to lose the game. So it's weird in standard, but uh,
how are Merfolk doing in standard?
other
Explore
than the
making
one
it? Are
that
they making a splash?
ah, for me they are. I like the one that explores. It's the 2 mana 1/2 that explores. That works for me. Um, There's the one that counters the triggered ability. Like I said, it does planeswalkers too. So if someone plays a Teferi and you cast this while they're triggering their thing, it shuts down their Teferi. It is, I mentioned it before, but I'll just shout it out again. Uh, Tishana's Tidebinder, which is 2 and a blue, 3/2 with flash. When it enters the battlefield, counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as it's on the battlefield. Which again, it shuts down Shieldreds, it shuts down all planeswalkers, it shuts down any that Cholilu, the one that discovers 5 at the end of
Yeah,
turn.
that's so annoying.
Yeah, it
Fuck
shuts
that
down
card.
all of that stuff. So for 3 mana as a 3/2 with flash, it's good. And you can really shut down a deck if it's really relying on an activated or triggered ability. So that merfolk is real. Grab it.
Grab it.
I won't say it. I won't say it.
Sip beer.
I won't. I won't say it. I won't say it. All right. Chamil. Yeah, Chamil. In terms of the last card I've got here is a contested ball game, which is an artifact. There's a 2 mana uncommon artifact. When you're dealt damage, the attacking player gains control of contested ball game, a game ball, and untaps it. But what it does is you can pay 2 mana and tap it to draw a card and put a point counter on it. Then, if it has 5 or more point counters, sacrifice it and create a treasure token. So really, it's 2 mana, draw a card. And after a certain point, it draws you a card and gets you a treasure token. But it's Monarch style, so if your opponent hits you, they get it. And it's a fun little mini game to try to protect it, get the card draw. A lot of times, my opponents are getting 4 card draws and a treasure token because they got something silly going on.
Da 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 da.
But it's fun. It's fun. That's why we're playing. So
Yeah.
contested ball games, a cool little deck that you can do unlimited.
My only colorless card of choice is Chamil the Inner Sun. Fuck that card, but also kind of want one for something. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna put it in. I mean, I might try to. I could try to squeeze it in Eldrazi, but nothing's like terribly cheap. I guess it wouldn't hurt to hit like all my rocks and things. Maybe I will put it in Eldrazi, but yeah, that just seems like a fun card. Doesn't do anything by itself. You know, I mean, obviously it discovers at the end step. It's cool that it discovers at your end step, though. If it was the beginning of your upkeep, it'd be terrible.
Yes. Yeah. And the good thing about Discover is if you don't want to cast it, it just goes to your hand.
Yeah,
So
discover's a great
it's
mechanic.
it it's so good. Play it where you can. I guess that'll be the last thing I say about this set is I bought 8 copies of every hidden land in this set. So the hidden lands are the comes in tapped for monocolor, but you can pay 5 mana and sacrifice it to discover 4. I bought 8 of every color. I shoved them in all of my commander decks. I don't know how good it's going to be, but in standard, I mean, just the ability to discover four is either a card draw or a free cast, and sometimes it's amazing how many times it hits something you need so badly, and
Yeah.
suddenly you get this free cast. You have nothing in hand. You drew a land. You play a land. You sack the hidden, and it does what it's supposed to do. So I've been using them. I have a bunch of them, and for 9 cents for the foil copies, I had to
Might as
grab as
well.
many as I could.
Yeah.
9 cents. But no, Lost Caverns of Ixalan was as good as I hoped. I'm happy that it's out. I have had a blast. I still think Wilds was a better set somehow, but it delivered. So congrats to Lost
Yeah.
Caverns.
Ixalan looks cool for me. It's gonna be like Amonkhet, where I appreciated it outwardly, but didn't interact with it too much. But then I'm probably gonna regret that in like 6 months when I'm like, oh shit, I totally forgot that these cards existed, and then they're like amazing, and I should have picked them up earlier. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
expecting.
Well, to whatever listeners we have now, you know what to grab. We
Yeah.
mentioned all the good ones right here.
Good things. Good things.
Get the Get Losts. Actually, I think Get Lost is like $5. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So
It's just like an offer you can't refuse. An uncommon that's at a premium price.
really, a good card. Good
Yeah.
card. Hmm.
All right. So the last topic for today we have is we played a bunch of Commander last weekend. If you just had any quick thoughts about any musings from those games, any cards that stood out to you?
Uh, there's no specific card that was cast. There was no game. I want to say that my favorite game was our first game that we played. It was solid. It was even. I don't remember what we played, but I do remember at the end of the game, you won with 1 life.
Yeah.
I
It
remember.
came down to 1 life.
I remember Mark had only enough damage to take you down to 1. I couldn't help. It was this tight thing where we sat there for a few minutes, really racking out every possible play, and at the end of the day, you had it. But that was
Snuck it
cool.
in there. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. How many games did we play? 6, right? We
We
hit our
played
six.
6. What happened though that we equated to full decimate, Joey getting double strike casted? Was that against you or was that against Mark? There was some devastating play where it was just like absurd, outrageous.
So, all right. So we drank more than we had ever drank in ever playing Commander. That was by far the most alcohol we ever drank. All I really remember is our first game while I was still sober. And then I remember I didn't win any games. And we played one game with our shirts off. That's all I remember,
Ha!
honestly. And then I remember rushing to ShopRite to get some food.
It was vital. It was necessary.
Yeah, I remember playing tight. I know I didn't suck at playing, but I didn't win any.
You
But
won the last one.
no, I didn't. Did I?
Yeah.
What was I? What was I playing?
Joey, you and Joey had a concede battle. And then based on the rules
That's
of who
right.
could concede, you
That's
needed
right.
you it wasn't your turn, so Joey's concession actually technically trumped yours.
That's right. That's some honor right there. That's how you win Commander.
Yeah,
But yeah, I remember that the dinosaur deck just
I got stomped out by
didn't stop.
dinosaurs. That was amazing.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
Man,
None of
I'm
my
really trying to rack my brain for what that play was because there was something that happened that was just absolutely outrageous.
yeah. You're asking the wrong guy. I was hurting that day. I brought the ciders. I brought the hard teas. I brought the shots of Fireball, and then Mark just started feeding us rum,
Yeah,
and
it happens. That's how they get
yeah,
you.
and Yinglings. It was rough.
One thing I will say is that like I brought up before that I picked up the Enduring Enchantments Abzan uh, precon from Commander Masters, and now 3 of my decks. For people that don't know, and I don't know why you'd care, but I try to limit myself to 12 decks because I'd go crazy if I didn't do that, and it forces me to recycle cards into new ones or sell them to finance the new decks, what have you. But now 3 of those 12 are Commander Masters precons. All edits, obviously, some more heavily than others. Um, But I honestly, in retrospective, a lot of people gave Commander Masters a lot of Commodore guff, and I don't. That was a joke, by the way. Uh, but I think that they were very well designed decks. If Slivers was pretty much anything beyond just like a typal deck or Kindred deck, not sure what the terminology is currently. Is it Kindred, or does
Kindred.
Kindred replace Tribal as the super type? And the
Yes. Yes.
okay,
Kindred all the way. It's going to be Kindred for everything. Actually, I'm pretty sure if you go to E EDC EDH Rec,
there EDC. If you're going to
that's some
EDC,
knife talk. Everyday carries, baby. But if you go to EDH Rec, I'm pretty sure they changed it because they did change it to Typal. I'm pretty sure they put it to Kindred now.
so yeah,
Check that actually.
yeah, if that was something else. I just think they were very well designed decks that were a lot of fun, and I don't think that they were worth $100 like they were being some places were charging for them like originally. I managed to get enduring enchantments on the Black Friday sale for like I think it was like $33, and I feel like at that price point they're like incredible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, if you can
Yeah.
find them on sale, anyone listening, definitely worth it. Commodore Guff was so much fun. Super Friends is fun even without green. Trust me. You're not tempted to put in doubling season or anything like that. Like it forces you to
Yeah.
actually like try to build around, more niche planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Because you're missing
And
some like the best.
that reminds me that you played that on over the weekend, and
Yeah,
you destroyed us with that because we weren't ready for the planeswalker removal, and all of them were doing a lot of stuff.
and also
Very
shout out back
powerful.
to Quintoris is that I ended up hitting a couple planeswalkers with Quintoris's Discover. So that was just really it. Just the engine really was chugging along.
Discover, yeah, good. It's solid, good
So
stuff.
yeah, all of them, the Eldrazi, Commodore Guff, Enduring Enchantments, all fun, all worth it if you can find it for a good price.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think that's everything then.
Yeah, it felt good to be back, Joel. Thank you for joining. We did it. We made our next brewing. We'll be doing this weekly now that we have it set up for doing video. Um, we're gonna get back on it. We will have some guests. Troy will be on occasionally. We're gonna get some of our other players and just talk Magic and drink
Yeah,
beer.
hottest
That's
of
the thing.
takes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Where's the gun from murder at the Karlov? You know.
Anyway, so that's
That's for next week. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Check us out next week on Brewing Through the Multiverse. God bless. Take care.
and that's the bottom of the glass.
Cheers.
Cheers.